Hey guys, welcome to the show. It is Jason Alexander, and I'm with Richard Latham, I want to say mortgage guy with a bow tie, but you ain't got the bow tie on today.
I'm going golfing.
So
So
it's mortgage guy going
golfing guy.
on Tuesday.
Yeah, on a Tuesday.
Glad to have you on.
Thanks, man. Nice to be here.
So we've kind of got, I would say, some history on
Yep.
how I came to Arkansas and how you were a huge part of that. But before we kind of get into that story, right off the bat, Richard, who's Richard Latham? You go.
It's a mysterious guy. I'm just kidding. Uh,
Like, tell
no,
me about how you came about to become who you are here in Northwest Arkansas.
yeah.
Are you from here
No,
originally?
no. So originally, I'm from Texas. I was born in California. Yeah, and was born in California, raised in Texas, and yeah. So at about
What part of Texas?
southeast Texas, so
Okay.
about an hour and a half east of Houston.
Yeah.
I should probably include that every time I talk about like where I'm from because everyone, I mean, Texas is so vast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I ended up moving to Washington for about 5.5 years. I was there. I was in a band in Seattle.
You were in a band.
Yeah.
What kind of music?
So it was similar to like Linkin Park. I was the lead
Okay.
singer.
Nice.
Um,
I had no clue about that.
really?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty fun.
Good.
I'll shoot you some info. Yeah, some tracks. But we recorded a couple of EPs, did an album, and it was a blast. We played at all the big venues in Seattle.
Really?
In fact, you know who Perfect Circle is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know the
Perfect
name.
Circle. Tool, Maynard
Okay.
also created
Never
Perfect
heard of
Circle.
Tool.
Are you
I'm
serious?
kidding.
I was like, what the heck, dude? All right, we need to cut this right
Yeah,
now. Sorry,
well,
guys.
we're down.
So, but yeah, so one day, it was a Friday that they ended up playing at the Showbox Market, and we ended up headlining a show the next day. And I just remember being in the back or in the green room back where the bands wait to get on stage,
Yeah.
just like this is freaking cool, man. Like you're in a big venue, fixing to play one of the biggest crowds, about 5 or 6 thousand people, and Maynard was here, probably, maybe. It's kind of a cool deal.
That is cool. I'm jealous.
It's a lot of fun. But yeah, so I ended up getting into mortgage 2014 or 15, 2015. So been in the business for almost 9 years. One of my
That's the year that I got posted.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Hey oh, there we go.
Right? Come on.
You almost fist bumped my.
No. Hey, whatever. Like that.
um,
Yeah. Yes.
brother, stepbrothers, right?
Anyway.
But yeah, so I ended up through a lot of moving. I've moved so much in my life. I was also in the Marine Corps, so there's just so much moving in my life. Um, my drummer, we ended up breaking up, and my drummer went to Joplin to live, and he asked me for several years to move to Joplin. There's some pretty cool stuff going on here. It's just after the tornado, so there's a lot of growth. And so I was obliged eventually.
But you're in Washington at that time.
No,
right?
actually, I moved to Texas,
Texas
at that time.
Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Once we broke up, I was done with Seattle. Sorry, Seattle people. But the weather there is rough. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I
think
look.
it's like one of the highest suicide rates areas.
Yeah, when we were leaving, they were putting up fencing on the bridges,
Yeah.
higher fencing, so people would be less likely to jump off. It was
So
you
really
insane.
had to work for
Yeah, you
jumping
really
off.
you had to persevere in order to jump off.
That's terrible.
It's rough, and I experienced it too. I mean, not that part of it, but like the lack of sunshine was awful. I was about as white as this cup. I look back on my pictures. But yeah, so we ended up coming to Texas, and then went up to Joplin, and so his wife they're both really good friends of mine, Sam and Rhonda Hickey, and yeah, so his wife Rhonda, she was like, hey, I think that you'd be really good at doing mortgages, and I'm like, well, I'm going to school for electronics engineering. I guess I'll check it out, see what's going on. And she eventually got me into the business. And in 2015, through some other moves, I had to start out as a teller, making $10 an hour as a teller and going to school. And yeah, it was a big sacrifice because I got offered a really good job and I really wanted to get into mortgage, and it's paid off great. I absolutely love this. I've been in the business for almost 9 years and seen not every up and down, obviously, but a lot of up and downs in the market in the past 8.5 years.
So you started doing mortgages in Joppa.
Correct. Yep.
And then
with Flat Branch. Yeah.
And then how many years did you stay in that and do mortgages?
So I started coming down here, and I brought. I was one of them that brought Flat Branch down in Northwest Arkansas. Maybe 2017 or so, 2018. And I really wanted to come down here because of all the biking.
Yeah.
I found out. So being from a small little town in Texas of like 2,000 people, when I graduated, I don't know, it's probably 1,700 people. Have no clue, but really small town. If you're riding a bike anywhere, they're thinking two things: either he has a DUI, he's not allowed to drive, or I am methed out of my mind. They would have no clue if you're riding a $10,000 bike. It's not a part of the culture. Although, some of my friends are starting to ride over there, but it would be, it's very different. So when I found out that you can mountain bike as an adult, I was like, I'm in. So I started mountain biking down here, and I brought my wife down here, and I'm like, we have to come down here. This is such a cool place to live. And I'm so thankful for like the Waltons and Tyson and everyone that comes here to create a culture where they're creating a whole bunch of bicycle lanes, and it's, just to be healthy. Right. This is the healthiest I probably have been in the past 20 years. So, and it's like, because of where we're at.
You get in places like this, it's like you stand out when you're lazy and unhealthy and inactive, all those things, because it's such a attractive area. It's such a good lifestyle to live. It's so accommodating to easily, go hit the bike paths or just walk or hike or just go kayak or use the creek and all these different activities that really don't cost much, other than mountain biking, which costs a ridiculous amount of money.
But your initial investment is a little bit.
You got the doctor bills and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, that's you. I don't do the jumps that you do. So, but yeah, being down here is special. You see the difference. Like I've been to Colorado Springs, Denver, Colorado. And just the cleanliness of around here versus that or Dallas or Houston is incredible. Like, I just remember I went to Colorado Springs thinking that it's going to be it was a beautiful place, but I was thinking like it's going to be really clean, and it wasn't at all. And it makes you think like how lucky we are to have what we have here. So.
And yet Colorado Springs, not to knock it down, it's got some of the most expensive homes, wealthiest areas in the nation. And yet you still saw some of that. Unfortunately, I've got my own personal story about Colorado Springs that's kind of interesting, because during COVID, we traveled a lot, and you would start to see, as you went through different counties, how people ran different things. And so we rolled into Colorado Springs, middle of the COVID, and they had the pools were empty, and the KOA was like almost shut down, and the playgrounds were taped off and everything. And you're like, okay, well, we just came from a county over, like 40 miles from here. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And then, you started to see it was not as clean as you thought, yet there's a ton of money. You're like, anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that comes down to like here, the leadership, you can see it firsthand. It has a big aspect of the area, and it's everything from, just local police up until, the government and what am I the governor, not necessarily the government.
Well,
the government.
Yeah, and then the local bodies here.
So
what's really cool is I was talking with someone just the other day that he's part of the planning committee for, in this case, Bentonville, right? And what they do, I was telling him, I didn't even know he was part of the planning committee, but I was telling him, like, it's really, really cool being here because I get these, notifications or these things through Facebook and Instagram that say, hey, take a survey for Bentonville. And you take the survey and it's like, they play Would You Rather. Would you rather have an outdoor park? This is literally going on right now. An outdoor park on I Street and 8th. Or would you rather have the bike lane extended all the way down to the 8th Street Market? And you're seeing that right now. Like they're making that whole street. Of course, it's been, they're moving fairly fast, but it's been several months that they've been working on it. It's really neat to see that stuff in action. Like I literally just took the survey 6 months prior to them, or probably about a year prior to them doing the work. Really neat. So they listen to the community. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, not to mention let's just summarize it, like an ass load of money put behind a lot of this.
Oh, for sure.
That's very unique to a lot of. That's very unique to here, and not like a lot of other places in the nation. But let's just go ahead and take advantage of that.
Yep. And it's nice because we also have the gravel riding. Gravel riding, mountain biking is great. Gravel riding is, I rode like 6,000 or 7,000 miles of gravel, back in 2020 or 2021. And the gravel scene is incredible and it's growing. I've done pro cyclist loans and they're moving here. It's amazing. Like one of the pro cyclist loans that I did, he's literally moving from Colorado, Breckenridge, here. Yeah. And so it's pretty neat. It's really neat.
A lot of folks from Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everything's about the price at that point.
Yeah. They're definitely getting top dollar for their properties out there. They've been there for 5 years on average, I want to say, and they're getting a ridiculous amount, and then they're buying. And like I just had a client buy in Bella Vista, bought a beautiful home. They sold theirs for $800, and they're buying for $500.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, let's be honest, it's not mountains, but the amount of hills is just like a mountain. So I mean, you're always going up and down hills.
And they're typically families. So it's like you're right. You're away from trestle. You're away from these big descent mountains like we see in California and Colorado. Mm-hmm. But let's get real. Like whenever I go riding those mountains, for the most part, I'm kind of by myself. I've got kids and we can ride a certain area. Yeah. But I'm going to go hit like the big lifts and stuff like that, like by myself. Yep. And so as a community, as a family trails, that's where I feel like Bentonville has this niche to where we can just generally ride a lot of this stuff together, and you can speed it up if you want to. If you're a better performer, you can go around, some of the lips and the doubles and stuff like that with the family. Yeah. And the dad can hit the double or whatever it may be. So it's a really versed area like that. I think that is a little bit different.
I like that they have A and B, sides, because that's really important to me, because I'm not going to go down the crazy stuff that you go down. But I like actually pedaling. I'm a peddler. But yeah, so I mean, kind of to talk about that point a little bit more, the Greenway goes, straight from downtown Bentonville. Small kids could be riding on the Greenway while mom and dad or whoever could be riding on the fun trails just to the side of it. You can always you can always see them in your sight. That's really fun and nice.
And it's good that this area has been able to show that it's possible, like what's capable, what's possible in an area like this, and that I think you're going to start seeing other areas go, look at the lifestyle and look at the quality of life that's come from creating a system like this and putting money into the local community on this level. Yeah. And then bikes is that center, that one core thing that so many people gravitate to.
Yeah. I mean, at one point I was 265 pounds on a 5'9" frame. That's pretty large, right? So, hey-o. No. I'll send it to you. But at 265 pounds, it was hard for me to just go upstairs. And I'm not like that. I've always, when I was growing up, ever since I was 4 or 5, I was always playing football and baseball. And I just got really, really, really big. And the reason why I started really honing in on, how I feel and being more physically active and healthier is this area. So,
So 2017, roughly, you said you came down here and like the light bulb went off in Northwest Arkansas.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you move down here?
So we had a 3-year plan in 2017 to move down here, and I remember I was I ended up going on like my second bike ride with some of my friends, and um, it was down Tristan's trail, and back then there was this big jump, and I took the jump and I smashed my wheel, and I had to hike a bike all the way out. It was probably, I don't know, maybe about 1.5 miles. I had to hike a bike. I had a picture of it. I'll send that to you. Cute photo. But yeah, it was. I remember like I was holding my bike, and I'm like, man, I freaking love this. Like, it sucks, but I love it. Right? It's so much fun. There's like camaraderie in this, and I ended up telling my wife like, hey, we need to come down here. So she ended up coming down here, and she was like, I love this spot. So we had a 3-year plan, and so that was in 2017, and we moved here in 2019.
Cool.
Yep.
And where, we won't give your address away, but what area are you in?
My address is, no, I'm just kidding. No, it's in Bentonville. Okay. So I moved to like around I Street and Airport Regional. So a little bit out of town.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so it's a little bit out of town, but I tell people it's a 12-minute drive, or it's a 15-minute bike ride. It's not that big of a difference.
So business-wise, I want to jump into where were you at comfortably, like leading up to last year? And I want to say that just because I don't know what your last year has been like, but let's kind of lead up into that. So once again, what has business been like for you the last, say, 5 years?
As in,
are you by yourself? Have you got a team?
Oh, okay,
gotcha. How many assistants? Like, how many transactions would you say you handle a year?
So when I was with Flat Branch, I was doing a lot more than what I am now, because it was set up that way where you had to do a lot of loans. Yeah. So I think in 2021 I did 249 loans, I believe, and then in 2022, which is last year, I switched over to the brokerage at the end. Towards the end of last year. I think I did a total of maybe like 175, 180. This year, I'm on pace for probably about 120, which is perfectly fine. And it's great. I love it. It's work-life balance 100 times.
That is the key.
Yeah, especially in this industry.
Now, 2023, with the market, the biggest shift in the last decade and everything we've heard, and interest rates and everything, in your world, how's that look for you in this last year?
This last year, it didn't bother me. Like, in the past year, the biggest difference that I saw was the amount that the rates went up, like in such a short period of time. And that was kind of disheartening to be able to, to have to tell clients like, hey, I know that we're looking at a, 6%, but it's, 6.75 now because of, the market stakes. But now, I mean, I do see that trending down, and I'm excited for that. So there's a lot of indicators that are showing that that's going to be trending down. It's going to be good next year. Next year is going to be great. And really, what's weird is that this area is a little bit of a bubble. Now, it depends on what market that you're in: investors versus primary homes, sellers versus buyers. All mine are, going to be buyers. All of mine are going to be buyers, but at the end of the day, it hasn't been awful. There's ups and downs. I have friends that are in the business, even in different with different lenders and different banks, and I call them. I'm like, hey, how are you feeling? What's the temperature? They'll be rockstar in 1 month, and I'll be like, it's been okay. and then it'll just flip flop, right? So it's just really depending on the market, the people that you're around, and but I feel like this is I do have lenders or other loan officers in other states that I talk to, and I feel like that this is definitely um, a buffer than for what's happening outside, because you still have people coming here. You still have people wanting to come here to ride bikes all the time. And you see all these different license plates out here, and you see people always wanting to look at homes.
Yeah, we see a lot of Texas. Texas,
I literally just saw like 4 license plates coming here.
I feel like that were from Texas. The conversations that I always have with them, they'll come out to the campground. That's like
cool. Yeah.
Who we have is like Texas, Colorado, Minnesota.
That's such a cool spot you have, man.
And so, but once they come out, a lot of them, like I said, from Texas, they're outskirts of Austin, predominantly. They're mountain bikers. They're kind of in the industry, but yet they're now being able to either work remotely or transfer and that kind of thing. And so then they're already kind of in the mountain bike vibe. So that it's just like it's concrete once it comes.
Yeah, it's kind of solidifies itself.
So the campground. So basically, that would have never came about if it wasn't for you.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop.
I mean,
keep on going. Keep on.
In all reality, like let's just jump on that. So the story for everybody, basically, I'm in California. I'm working the phones. We sold our house, sold our cars, sold everything. At that point, we were living in our RV. That was it.
For some time.
We didn't tow a car. We didn't have like what fit in that RV was it. We had a small storage in California, and we were pretty much traveling around. We had fallen in love with Bentonville at this point, and we're under contract at that point. I'm physically in California, working the phones. Hadn't seen that house yet that we bought. Had a buddy of mine drive by and check it out, basically, and take some photos. And then I saw the listing photos and had an agent. The deal was falling apart at the last minute. I don't know if that was God telling me, hey, this ain't going to work out for you. You're going to stretch yourself way too thin. But luckily, then we got in touch with you, referred to you. You picked up the ball. And within, I want to say it was like 2 weeks from that point.
It's fairly quick, yeah.
The appraisal was done. Everything was done. It was like lickety split. I was just like, I don't know what happened, but it was amazing. And we closed.
Yep.
And that was the reason. I mean, we showed up here January 3rd, 2022. And I'll never forget it because we showed up. It was just like, we're going to Bentonville. Like, let's go. Like, we're closing.
It's real now.
It's done. Yeah, because there for so long, it was like 30, 40 days. I thought everything was going good, and then the balls started getting dropped from the other, financial company and this and that. And it's like, maybe this isn't meant to be. Yeah. Everything we've been manifesting for the last couple months, like maybe this isn't it. Maybe, and then for you to come through and do that, it was like, okay, like we're going. This is it. And yeah, so we showed up, and then hadn't met you. Just spent a lot of time on the phone.
A lot of time on the phone.
And then so yeah, I'll just never forget just closing on that deal and then living in the driveway, and it was like 18 degrees because the weather just set in. It was like, it's Arkansas in the winter. Here we are.
Oh, that was an awful winter too.
And we were gutting the house. Like the night before close, I was ripping out carpet out of that house. Just so you know.
Didn't hear anything.
We were in it, already gutting the house and everything, and it was like, this is what we're doing. We can't turn back. Burn the ships.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember how long it went till we actually met for the first time. It was like,
when did we meet?
And I don't know if I can even remember like our first meeting, but we chatted.
I remember seeing you on the bike a few times, but
and then so that then is, so if y'all don't know, I have a primary residence on 10.5 acres that we've turned into our campground and our little private Bentonville bike campground. Yep. And we got a big dream that we want to pursue on that, but it's been great. And it's been a great, I want to say land hack, property hack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because through our campground, it pays the mortgage taxes. We purchased another property in the back that you'd referred me to, to Miss Heather Long.
Yep.
And so it's like the campground pays for everything, which is cool. And then it's like, well, how do we grow? And then that's our next phase. But, yeah, that was you were a huge component to that.
Thanks, man.
That's Should
I give my bow now or what? I'm just
kidding. So we'll put your license number and all the details. And that's a great moment.
Contact info.
But yeah, that was, I mean, you were the second person that I pretty much knew here, besides my other buddy Greg. So that was good.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm glad you're here. I know you're doing some really, really cool stuff, especially in the bike scene. It's nice to have these, little recreation areas where, people could come and just hang out. It's kind of like, it reminds me of, have you ever been to the Renaissance Festival?
I haven't.
Okay. Neither have
Are
I.
you talking here?
No. This is in Texas. I'm sure they have them elsewhere, but my brother talks about it all the time. So it kind of reminds me of like a Renaissance festival without the crazy like get-ups and stuff. So you could it's like a communal area that you could come hang out, and you're fixing to be building some more little like buildings, right?
Yeah.
Little tiny homes / pods.
Yep.
So
the A-frames.
Yep.
The A-frames. So they're 10 by 12, but our plan is to build more of those.
Cool.
There's a big demand for those. Pour some cement in the barn so we can renovate that. Have that as a big social area.
Yep.
Working on our backyard social area that will flow out of that barn and be able to have like events and around the big fire pit and stuff. So right now everything is really basic, which a lot of people like because they want the space.
Yeah.
They wanted to have their dog run and stuff like that.
Yep.
So spread out over 10 acres, we've only got like 8 spots right now,
Yeah.
which is great for a lot of space.
Yeah.
But we're going to be doing more electrical and allowing for just a few more spots and a few more A-frames and stuff, and kind of step up the vibe and the look. So definitely plans and ideas for endless. That's a whole nother episode we could do.
You're a visionary, man. You look into the future and try to get that stuff done. I like that.
We had a big idea, like when we left California, well, even living in California, I mean, we had a nice home and we had kind of gotten to that point where we had worked our way into, a pretty nice house, a nice view and a gated community and all those great things. But we were always driving 2-3 hours to go mountain biking. Couldn't mountain bike there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so we were going to Big Bear or Mammoth, which is great. But like in our community, it was a horse community, it was equestrian. And so, I mean, equestrian and mountain bikes just usually don't mix.
Yeah.
They hate us. And so I was like, well, I want something where I can get off work and go enjoy. And I also had this vision of like, I want to have like my own little bike park.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or my own little campground. And so that's really where that started manifesting. And then when we traveled through Bentonville, I was like, what? There's places in this world that
it's here
that like we connect with, and they're not going to hate us for riding on the trails.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a special area. I love it. I tell everyone about it. I try to recruit everyone that I meet.
So back to you. You're married, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How many kids?
1. Yeah, we stopped at 1. We hit a grand slam with that kid. So good kid. I don't want to test the waters. So I'm like, okay, well, he's turned out pretty good. So like, let's just stop. Like, why do you want to go for failure, right?
I know, right? I was gonna say, I always think about there's like that thing. We're gonna edit that out.
Okay.
That was a bad thought. I was thinking about this family I know, and the third kid just didn't turn out well. I was just like, man, they should have stopped.
They should just see. I don't want to be that. No. I mean, so I've been married for 12 years. So it's been awesome. It's been easy, to be honest. It's been some good stuff. So, yeah, she works in the industry, not real estate industry, but she works in the like the HUD and tax credit industry. So that space, and yeah, I wish like there's no one that really does that here in Arkansas. Yeah. So it's been kind of that's interesting. Like I haven't seen it, at least, or at least Dominium that she works for.
HUD, like for
no, right. I thought you thinking as a realtor, but HUD as in like apartments, Section 8.
Oh, okay.
Section 8.
You,
yeah, Section 8 housing.
Interesting. So last question, and we'll wrap it up. 2024. What's your prediction? Like, what are you going to see?
Let me look at my crystal ball.
Overall, what's your prediction as far as interest rates,
yeah,
transactions?
So there, it's kind of split. I think towards the end of the year, it's going to be getting really good. Because personally, I think that, everything follows politics, right? And I don't watch politics, but I'm a part of this place called this thing called MBS Highway. MBS Highway. I stay in my lane, right? So like I do mortgages. I don't do economics. I don't do realtor stuff. I don't do title stuff. I do mortgages. So I stay in my lane and I try to be really good at that. And so I pay this other company, MBS Highway, to kind of help me like what their predictions are. So their predictions are, it should be a solid year going into 2025. That's for sure. But I feel like, I mean, rates have been really, they've been coming down here lately. And I like that. And most people like that. So I think that's going to be helpful. A lot of things to look out for is going to be, is the Fed going to be raising the interest rate again? Now that doesn't necessarily affect me. If they raise it an eighth or whatever, mine, rates go, secondary market rates go up by an eighth. It could affect it positive or negative, depending on what the situation is. And right now, they should just stop and just hold off. All their hiking needs to be absorbed in the market, and they're starting to see that absorption in the market. So I think going into next year, we should see a decent move to lower rates. So
I think we're getting to that point where people are just absorbing the fact that like 6.9 is a good day.
Yeah.
Like it took a transition, because I remember September 2022, we were in the middle of flipping a house in Rogers, and just gung ho in it and trying to get it done because I knew it was going to happen. We were talking about the interest rates.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom. Oh my gosh. Like overnight, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, but you go through 6 months of people going like panicking, pulling out. I don't know what to do, changing life plans and this and that. If they are buying, they absolutely have to buy.
Yeah.
And so I think that now you're starting to see people like, this is just the new norm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And hopefully we can squeeze a 5.5.
Yeah.
At some point.
So MBS Highway does, they predict the rates to be consistently in the sixes by the end of next year. So
that's sixes, the new threes.
Yeah, I do feel like they talk about it. 2025, especially like one of my lenders. So I'm a broker, and a broker on has I have 100 and something different lenders, but one of the lenders, which is UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, is one of the biggest lenders in America, if not the biggest. And their expectation is going to be 2025 is going to be looking really nice, but you have to invest now. And whether that's us as real estate, people inside of real estate, or investors, you invest now, and you'll be paying dividends in 2025. So
I think unless something absolutely drastic politically or worldly happens, you're still going to see an increase in value. I mean, we're still seeing 6, 10, 12, 15% growth rate. So it's like people are talking about, the prices are coming down. Well, the prices are coming down off of the list price that they had.
Yeah.
But let's not get it twisted. Like, we're still seeing a growth rate of comfortably 7-8%.
For sure.
If not more. And so I was just having this conversation with somebody, because they're like, well, I look on Zillow and I see all these price drops. Well, you're right. There's price drops happening.
There's price drops happening during COVID, by the way.
And there's also a lot of deals happening to you even hitting Zillow. You know what I mean? There's that hasn't shown happening prior to even hitting the MLS, so that's not even going to show. But even though there are the price drops, because they're not getting that inflated price anymore, that doesn't mean that the values of the entire area is not still growing.
Right.
And that's the misconception.
Right. So
they think we're crashing or we're heading down because the prices are coming down. Well, 2 years ago, basically I summarized it like this with the conversations. I said, the people who bought a home 6 months ago aren't upside down. They're like, what do you mean? They're not upside down. If they were, that the market is.
It would be in a bad situation. So perfect example for me. When I did a mortgage for a client in, I think it was in Neosho, and she paid, it was a super low amount. This is a long time ago, but so she paid like, I think it was $85,000 or $86,000, right?
I was going to say about $20,000.
No, you wish. Oh my gosh, that would not be inhabitable. But she paid like 85 grand. And then she sold it to someone else 2 years later, right? This is maybe in 2017 at that point. She sold the house to someone else about 2 years later. And the appraisal came back less than what she purchased it before. And that's because of the comps, right? The comps back then in the rural area that she was in, there weren't very many comps, so it lowered the value. This is in Southwest Missouri, and I haven't had that happen yet, like in Northwest Arkansas. Period. Like I've never had someone say, "Hey, I paid 300,000, and why is it appraised at 280?"
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen here. Now, do we get low appraisals every once in a while? Well, yeah. I mean, you're going to get that every big once in a while. I say probably maybe 1 out of 20 that I get a low appraisal on. But
no, we just had one in this terrible market at 525 full price. Everyone's happy. It appraised at 543.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Buyer's ecstatic, seller's happy.
Yep.
And
I had one also that was purchasing for, I think it was like 785, and it appraised for 900. I mean, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah.
They were happy, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, I think we're kind of in a little bit of a buffer in this area, Northwest Arkansas special, on a lot of accounts.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens with everything that is unique here over the next couple of years. And I hope, I'll kind of wrap it up with this, but I hope things stay like this vibe. I know it's going to be growing. I know the population is exploding, and I hope that it stays clean, and I hope it stays attractive. And I hope,
me too.
The criminality of the area doesn't come with it, and all those great things. So I hope we've got a good window here for the next 5-10 years. And it doesn't get too out of hand.
Yep.
Let's see.
Dude, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Absolutely.
bet. Thanks, dude.